Hey, so before we get into this week's episode, you should check out our description. There's a link in there for our sponsor, Audible. It's always going to be the place not to read things, guys. Sign up with our link. You get a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook on us. Go to audibletrial.com/YAGS. That is YAGS for Yet Another Geek Show. Hello, welcome back to Yet Another Geek Show. This is your host, Nosh Rear. I'm Alex Ecker.
I'm your host, Dalton Munnell.
Josh couldn't make it to this one. He's a dumbass.
He decided he had to go spend time with a significant other or something. Weird.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Who needs that much time with my cousin?
Yeah, who needs Nosh either? All right, Alex, what have you been up to, man?
What have I been up to?
Yeah, man. What's up? Tell me about
There's been a lot of stress this week, but I did get to play Crypt of the Necrodancer since we talked about it last week.
Oh shit! Cool.
Man, I like it. It's difficult though. Mm-hmm. And I can't get past the first zone. This game whoops my ass. I think if I had like another person to play it with, I would be a lot better off in it. But the music's pretty good. I don't know if you knew this though. If you get to like the second floor on like, or if you go from the first floor to the second floor on zone 1, if the song runs out, you can lose. Like if you let the song play completely, like you lose, or if you have the key to the second floor, you can make it. That was a neat little thing. I have the hardest time remembering that there are more controls than just the direction.
Yeah. So we kind of breezed past, Alex. We kind of breezed past explaining this game to people that aren't familiar with it, which is because we've talked about it on the last episode. Yeah, so I know you know about that. I know what it is, but
well, instead of talking about it, how about a listener? You should go check out the last episode and then come back to this one, because what are you doing? You should listen to every episode. You should be our number one fan. You should sneak over to my front yard and watch me get undressed through the window.
If you were a real fan.
And change my diaper.
Or if you don't, it's a rhythm dungeon crawler, whatever.
Oh, that was funny.
But so, Josh and I both said we tried it before, had an excruciatingly hard time, and uninstalled it. And I don't remember if he did, but I refunded it at the time because it was just too hard for me. And
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Me and Josh both tried Cadence of Hyrule and went, all right, fine, it's pretty cool, and went, all right, let's jump back into the old one then and try to appreciate it again. So okay, but this was your first time trying?
Yes, yeah, I hadn't heard of this game actually until we started the podcast. Josh was the one who introduced it to me, and I was like, you know what? Everyone except me has taken Josh's recommendations on something, so I might as well take his recommendation on this because it was $4. So you know,
an excruciating $4.
It was excruciatingly hard to spend that money.
I meant the game, but yes.
I was planning on spending that money to add a little cardboard box to my home. But yeah, I do enjoy it. I do intend on trying to get a little better at it. Maybe grind my way through the first, at least through the first zone, because I like the mechanic. I like the art. I don't know, man. I'm thinking maybe we should try and let's play this game together, because I have it on my Switch, and as long as you don't take 3 million screenshots, we'll be good. Like you did on my birthday party. You should go back and watch that episode too, guys.
We'll see about that. All right. I'm gonna jump into a VR game of the week.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I tried.
That sounds amazing, Dalton.
I tried my millionth VR rhythm game. You can count them. That's how many VR rhythm games I've tried. Exactly a million. Weird. Still have 10 times the time in Beat Saber than I have in all the other ones combined.
Yeah.
This time I tried Dance Collider. And the thing that seemed unique about it, on Steam that caught my attention, which served to do nothing. Ultimately, this is another punch the orbs when they get to you game. Or actually just touch them. Some of these games make you punch them. Some of them you just got to touch them. I believe
some make you bop it. Some make you touch it.
Yeah, this was a just touch it game. But the thing that made it seem unique was that this is the only VR rhythm game I'm aware of where you're playing against a character and you're having a dance off, bro. Okay. And so it just looked like, oh, there's a layer of polish here. There's like detailed characters that are animated in front of you and a bit of dialogue and just like some decent things going on with the visuals in regards of lighting. And yeah, it just looked like, hey, this looks pretty polished. VR doesn't have a lot of polished games yet. Let's try this one.
Yeah.
And the characters don't. I guess if I looked a little bit closer at the videos on Steam, I would have realized this, but the existence of these characters doesn't actually affect the gameplay at all. It is still just you're touching the orbs that come at you. It doesn't matter that there's also a character standing in front of you. And they're kind of... They want you to see the characters, but you more importantly have to see the notes coming at you. So instead of them being a character physically standing right in front of you, they're actually a giant ass hologram in the distance behind the notes coming at you. You know, because they have to be really big because they have to be far away to not block your sight of the notes.
I'm envisioning Dance Dance Revolution just in 3D.
And that's exactly what it really turns out to. You play DDR and there's a character on the screen and animated, but that has... shit all to do with the gameplay.
Yeah.
And then it turned out the game actually ran really bad for some reason. So there goes my hope that it would seem kind of polished. Furthermore,
did you refund it?
I didn't, only because I waited too long to try it to find out that I didn't like it.
Gotcha.
And then in terms of like a regular problem you come across in these punch the orb VR rhythm games is actually keeping the notes in your field of vision, because field of vision is still so limited in most VR headsets. And this game would let notes come in from too far off to the side to see them. And it tried to have a system where it notifies you like, hey, notes to your right, don't miss that. But the problem was the indicator was too easy to miss.
Oh, they did a visual indicator instead?
So quite a few of these games try to come up with a system for it. This one just kind of has like arrows floating off in the distance that are pointing like, hey, check your right. They're coming from that way. Or in soundboxing, the system is there's always a line being drawn from one note to the next that's guiding your eyes for you.
You had me play soundboxing.
That's my favorite system I've seen for it in games that have this problem.
I kind of feel like it would be better to use auditory clues in VR instead of visual. Just because there is such a big chance for you to not see anything past. Because, I mean, it's just anatomy. Like your eye spatial difference between mine when we use the Vive, I have to change it from what you have it, which will affect my peripheral vision. And not to mention, you can only have so much peripheral vision when the lens is right in front of your eyes and not fully surrounding.
Yeah. Well, now,
so you'd think that they would do like look left, with the audio.
Yeah. But Alex, for the record, the adjustment you're talking about doesn't actually affect the field of vision. That's
but
yeah, same point. Different people still have a different field of vision inside the headset because your eyes being closer means you can see more of the inside of the headset. And then, but just in general, differences between people aside. Yeah, all of these headsets except the Pimax, I guess, have way too narrow of a field of view. And it's, to me, having a visual indicator is fine. It just needed to be more obvious. And this one just blended into the background too hard between, it's a game with a lot of flashy lighting effects. And I just wasn't noticing it for the life of me. And so I found myself struggling to play songs that I shouldn't have been struggling with only because I couldn't see the notes coming off to my side.
Right. Yeah. That's, like I said, they should use the auditory thing where all the sound should go to your left or right ear, depending, I feel like that would be a stronger indicator than visual.
Yeah. Yeah. That could be a neat idea. I'd like to see someone try that.
I think that would be pretty cool.
See how it feels. All right. Moving on from VR game of the week. which was not a recommend. Alex, I saw Toy Foury.
Yeah.
Went out and saw Toy Foury.
How was it?
Okay, so
because I had no interest in seeing this.
Okay, so this movie gets announced, and I, like you, and I think like a lot of people, have no interest.
3 was
in
such an end.
3 ended so well. 3,
yes,
honestly, might be like my favorite trilogy that's not Lord of the Rings, but I don't want to. I don't want to state that with certainty because I haven't seen 2 in at least a decade. But 3 just ended so strong, not just in regards to being a great movie, but in regards to being a great ending. That, yeah, you hear that Toy Foury is coming, and you just think, why? Why are you continuing this? You already completed it correctly,
right?
And to my surprise, the reviews come out, and it's looking pretty damn flawless. The Rotten Tomatoes critic rating gives it a 98. The audience rating gives it a 95. That's pretty ridiculously high praise.
Holy shit!
Mind you, that percentage isn't a score. It's a percentage of people that liked the movie. It's not the average rating. You can technically have 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, but your rating is really a 7.
Right.
Still an achievement not many movies hit, and an indicator that you are almost guaranteed to like this movie. So fine, you've got my curiosity now.
Right.
I catch comments here and there that somehow this movie actually feels more like a conclusive ending to the series than 3 did. All right.
Okay.
All right. You've really got my curiosity. I'll go see it.
Yeah.
Alex, I didn't like it.
It didn't surprise me. I don't think I've ever seen you like anything like wholeheartedly.
Oh,
to be fair,
I don't understand because it's consistent. I keep like nearly every YouTuber I follow has done a review on it, and all of them love it.
Oh, wow.
Not just like it a little. They all think it's great. They all feel that it's not a cash grab, that it's totally warranted, that it totally makes sense as a new conclusion to the story. And to me, it was just fine.
Well, you just said you didn't like it. So is it just fine or you don't like it?
To me, those aren't necessarily contradictions, but I guess to be more clear, I wasn't upset that I spent the time to watch it. There are things I like about it. I was upset that I spent $10 a ticket watching it.
Okay, that's better. You could have waited to see it at a cheaper theater.
And even though I had fun watching it, I would still prefer they hadn't made it.
Fair.
Because to me, this was not a better ending.
Really?
The way in which this is considered the way this is considered an ending without spoiling what that ending is that this movie is specifically an ending for Woody as opposed to the entire group.
Okay.
Think of it as like Logan being an ending for Wolverine as opposed to the X-Men.
Right.
It's that kind of thing. But Woody is part of the toys and Andy that already had an ending. Why did Woody need another ending? Toy Story 3 ended everybody. Buzz is a character here, and all the previous characters are characters here, but it's the Woody movie. And so a big complaint here, I guess, an annoyance for me, other than just the question of why does Woody need a further ending? I mean, his character arc here could have been done at the end of Toy Story 3 anyway.
Yeah,
it could have been squeezed in there as a 5-minute epilogue to Toy Story 3. It didn't need another movie. But I watched this movie where the bulk of the characters we already know get a couple lines of dialogue, and it's not about them. There is an entirely new cast of characters. And
seriously?
So, I mean, there's new characters in every Toy Story movie, but I'm saying all the new characters here get more time than all of the old characters, with very little exception. So, like,
you guys didn't hear that, but I rolled my eyes really hard.
So, like, Buzz gets an action scene or two here, but he doesn't have a character arc. Mr. Potato Head has 2 or 3 lines. Slinky the dog has 2 or 3 lines. None of them matter. It's Woody's movie spending most of his adventure with new characters. And the new characters are fine. Don't get me wrong. Like, Key and Peele are here, and they're pretty funny. And Keanu Reeves is here, and it's hysterical.
Does he play Johnny?
He plays...
Or no,
he doesn't.
What was it?
Duke Kaboom.
Something.
It's Duke Kaboom. And he's super awesome, and I enjoy the new characters here, including the villains of the movie. But it leaves me with a question of, besides why did Woody need another finale, it leaves me with the question of why bother following up a franchise? Like, why are you using the name of something and then disregarding all of it anyway? I guess the answer to that is, well, if you wanted to tell this story, you can't very well just go make another franchise that looks like Toy Story but isn't and get away with it.
Fair.
I guess you can't really do that. But at the same time, I didn't feel like there were enough unique ideas here that they needed to tell this story anyway.
Ooh.
So I get laughs out of this movie. I get touching moments out of this movie. I have fun, but the movie doesn't. But it doesn't contribute anything new or interesting.
Yeah. So if it were never made, you would have been fine without it.
I would have preferred being without it.
Fair enough. Okay.
It makes me wonder if the intention is really to start a second trilogy for today's kids, and so this simultaneously serves as a Woody ending and the start of a trilogy of new characters. Maybe that could have been the idea, but we haven't heard any rumors of a fifth movie. Also, it didn't continue that previous pattern of progressing in real time, like relative to when the movies are coming out. So I actually kind of doubt that's the approach, even though it would have made more sense to me why we're doing a movie that's almost entirely original characters.
Yeah.
I just, why is a movie that's supposed to be serving as something final, introducing everybody new? So, like, Duke Kaboom's a great character, but in a movie serving as an ending of a franchise, why would I rather get screen time with him than screen time with the characters you've already built up some amount of care over? That said, I'll give it the positive. This is going to be a really weak praise, but it's there and it's worth mentioning. I'll give it the positive, besides still enjoying the new characters, that visually Pixar is still consistently stepping up their game. And there are shots here that, if it weren't for just the simple fact that they're animating faces on toys, there are shots here that you would swear were not animated.
Really?
There's moments where my brain kind of bugs out and go, this is live action, or this is at the very least stop motion. How the hell are they doing this?
Yeah.
It's strange that, like, animation is, you're doing animation but aiming to create such real things out of it now that I almost wonder if it would have made more sense to composite the characters onto actual live action footage, because you're animating real backgrounds for them anyway.
Fair.
I'm sure that's technically more difficult than doing it all in the computer, or they would just do that. But yeah, it's bizarre to, like, look up footage of Toy Story 1 and 2 that look way worse than you remember them looking.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just supremely all around, they look really bad, to the point where we're going to have a hard time spotlighting them and having the balance between, oh, well, the directors were being innovative, and, oh, this looks like shit anyway.
Yeah, I think we'll just have to comment on, well, it doesn't look as good as you remember, but
yeah.
Speaking of,
it's how much credit do you get for innovation in spite of it looking like shit?
Yeah.
How much forgiveness can we give you?
So kind of like our podcast.
Exactly.
We look like shit. But you couldn't tell.
Which is why we do nothing on camera.
Yeah, for now.
That said, to me, to finish it up and let you get to your point here, this movie is fine. Watch it at home. Wait until it's on Disney Plus. Or don't listen to me because the entire internet disagrees with me. But if it were me, independent of what the rest of the world feels, I'd say, wait and watch it on Disney Plus. It's fine.
True. I might have to, I don't know, I might have to wait then. Speaking of things probably being remembered better than they were, I've been playing through Final Fantasy VII.
Woo.
Yeah, not a good way to open. Man, I'm almost through the first disc. I know what happens at the end of the first disc.
And you're not ready for it.
I'm not impressed.
Oh,
I'm just not.
interesting.
I'm not comparing it to 8 exactly, but things seemed better mechanically wise. Like animations didn't take 20 minutes for like a special move. I've used nothing but the fast forward the entire game. It's easier to remember names in most of other Final Fantasy games, like not main characters, but like places that you have to go. Like there was a spot that I got stuck and I'm like, where the fuck am I supposed to go? And then it's like, oh hey, go to the Temple of the Ancients, and I'm like, okay, great, where is that? Oh, it's north. Okay, great, I'm at the exact spot that you tell me. Oh, that's not the Temple of the Ancients, that's the Bone City or whatever it was. And it's like, oh, I mean, yeah, that one's a bad example because it's seriously obvious because the whole city's full of giant fossils and bones. But let's go to the gold saucer, everyone. Okay, cool. This place doesn't look gold. It looks like a giant tree with like Ewok huts in it that are just they were funded by Trump. Like, you know what I mean? Like the names of the places are hard. They don't give you an enemy name when you select an enemy like games before it did. Oh, you just fight this guy. Okay, cool. What's its name? Because then I can look up like in the bestiary, what's the best attack instead of wasting a slot for materia that tells me, oh, what it's weak against. You know, it's just the story's good. Like I dig the story so far, but nothing's grabbed me yet. Like it's an interesting story. Keep in mind, I've played Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. I loved that game. There was a lot to go on in that game. It was one of the games that almost made me cry at the end when I first played it. I was super excited to play 7, and I waited years and years until I played it. I knew it was going to be downgraded because considering this game came out like years after, like almost a decade after Final Fantasy VII was released, if not a decade. I watched Advent Children, the movie that's supposed to take place after the events of 7. Loved it. It was a great movie. Why do I not like I like everything that's based around it, but why am I not liking the story yet? What am I missing?
So at what point in your life did you get back to playing this game? I know you've played it but never finished it. Was it not until after Crisis Core?
See, I had it when I was, I want to say 12 or 13 years old. Okay. I played it. I got stuck at a certain spot in disc 1 and I quit. I sold it along with a bunch of other games to get myself a PlayStation Portable. And then years later, I found Crisis Core. Keep in mind, I had been dabbling in emulation by that point, and I was playing 7, got to the same point and quit playing.
So you playing this as, let me think, this is going to be, I hate to say this because it's kind of credit towards nostalgia and credit away from the game itself.
I was thinking that you were going to go that route.
But some of this is, I suspect this wasn't your first RPG in this manner. To me and a lot of other people, like maybe Pokemon was it before this.
Nope.
And so this was a really eye-opening thing of what video games could be. Like, of course, this genre already existed.
Yeah, it did.
Plenty of Final Fantasy games and Dragon Quest games and whatever other predecessors. But this game hit so big when it hit that it exposed a lot of people to the genre. And so for me, this was the point when video games became art. Before this...
That's fair.
Video games were, it's fun to roll in a ball and go around the loop real fast. And then Final Fantasy VII is the first, these are characters with feelings and locations with histories, and I feel like I'm actually on an adventure. Okay. So I guess that's some of it for me. Again, I guess that doesn't help the game's case. That helps my nostalgia's case.
No, it's I see the appeal. I really do. Like I totally know what your argument is, and it's fairly sound. I'm not the guy that's going to be like, oh, you only like it for nostalgia. No, if you like it, you like it. There's nothing wrong with that. But the one thing, like maybe here's another thought I just had. What if it's because I already know what's going on? Like, let's be fair.
Like you've just absorbed through knowledge being a gamer. a lot of what the story is.
Maybe that's it. Like, I'm sure if I bring up the name Zach, you know who that is. That's who you play as in Crisis Core. I'm sure you know the whole story of Crisis Core.
Yeah, I've never played it, but I've seen. I don't remember if I read a summary or if I watched the like video rips or whatever. I played through Dirge of Cerberus.
Oh yeah, I liked that one actually. It wasn't bad, but I wouldn't play through it again. I don't know. Maybe it's because I know the story. Maybe I know what's coming.
That's some element of it. Another thing is maybe I noticed some of the stuff that I hate to call it nitpicking, but I think pointing out that you can't see enemy names is a bit of a nitpick. It's less than a nitpick that you're having a hard time finding your way around the world. That's a bit more legitimate, but also I think true of every game at this time. Today, we're used to every game putting a indicator on a map and saying this is where you go. So I don't know if having a bit of a hard time finding your way around is unique to 7. I think if we were to start playing 8 at the same time, you would know it like the back of your hand and never have to think about it. And then you'd find me getting stuck and you'd be surprised by it.
Maybe.
When I play 7, as I am right now, I don't have to open a guide. I know where I'm going all the time. I never get stuck or confused. And I'm sure it wasn't that way the first time I played it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm not a stranger to the way that old RPGs work.
Yeah.
But the thing is like certain mechanics like the materia. I hate the certain materia that just seems senseless. And then you have it's interesting, but at the same time, I hate this too, where you can either pick an equipment item that has like maxed out materia slots, but is lesser on stats, which means that you'll become physically or magically weaker, or strength wise, you'll become weaker.
I mean, that's intentional. That's putting strategy in the game.
Right. No, I know. But at the same time, like it's how do I want to put it?
So criticisms you have towards like the battle system and whatnot are probably all valid. And I'm not going to defend any of them because although I do like the materia system and I know it's not the only Final Fantasy that has it. But as you're critiquing these things, I have to point out that the gameplay, as counterintuitive as this is for a game and one that's considered by many the greatest of all time, myself included, has never been something people praised about it. In fact, I am thrilled that the remake is completely redoing the gameplay from scratch because honestly, no one ever considered this a high point. This game is all about the atmosphere and story and dialogue and characters and music, and the fights are just there because they need you to do something besides click through text boxes and wander.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah, because like I said, I like the story. I do like the atmosphere. Maybe it's just that it's not grabbing me because I know a lot of it just from being a gamer for more than half of my life. Maybe that's it. I mean, I still like, I want to be able to finish it. Like I'm not letting this deter me from, because I know enough to get my way through telling you about the story, but I don't know everything. And let's be fair, Final Fantasies are known for their stories, which you're right. And some of them just had better gameplay. Like I loved 10 for the spear grid because it wasn't deterring you from making your characters weaker.
Yeah.
Or I liked the drawing system in 8 because it was a matter of how many stock fire you had instead of how much mana do you have.
I love the paradigm system in 13, but hate that the whole game's a narrow hallway.
Yeah, exactly. Like I thought the paradigm was interesting in that game. I didn't like how easy it was to stick yourself in one spot on that either.
So in this game, I know you're playing on the Switch because you said you're using the fast forward feature.
Yep.
Are you also using the system that just cheats the game for you and gives you infinite health?
Only during, like, not boss battles.
Honestly, if you're not enjoying the gameplay, you may as well, because you're here for the story. Don't torture. Don't torture yourself through the gameplay if you're not enjoying it. Just enjoy the story because that's really what you're here for. And it's, you know, to me, it's Final Fantasy VII is just. it's a world unlike anything I've seen anywhere else. It's not really a sci-fi environment. It's not really like European medieval fantasy.
Yeah.
It's not really even a JRPG environment. Maybe a little bit of steampunk is in there. I don't know. I guess 13 tried to harken back to this visual style just a little bit in terms of its setting, but to me, there's nothing else like it, and there's nothing else that has pulled me into the world in quite the same extent. It's making a really unique world and doing a really unique job pulling me into it. I just buy, poor translations aside, I just buy the dialogue so much, and I buy the character motivations so much, and my God, that music.
The music is phenomenal. I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
And even like the visuals, as much as some people can't stand the PS1 polygons, those pre-rendered backgrounds are so good and so detailed and do so much to build the world. The fact that, you know, on a system like the PS1, with the limitation of those resources, they still figured, well, when you walk into a pub, we want all the tables and the counters and the shelves behind the bartender. We want all of that to be littered with bottles and whatever. So
cigarette butts stamped out on the tables like that. All of that is a nice. It's a mix between the way I like to perceive the art is like an industrial age where electricity was just invented, but it's also the 80s. You know what I mean? It's got just some sort of charm before things became too politically correct, I guess would be the right phrase, where things were just less polite, not necessarily racist or hidden agenda ish. It was just things were way more crass and I don't know. It's got that like roughness about it that it feels like it's in the 80s as far as the dialogue goes, to me at least.
It's dirty in terms of terms of the dialogue, I guess, and just the world itself. I guess it's just the grime everywhere. When they tell me this is a poor area of the world,
you believe it.
I know that because all the metal in the world is rusted and there's grime everywhere and
stuff's falling off of buildings. And, there's no grass.
Electricity flashing off and on through wires. And like it's there, but it's unstable. And
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you can see it definitely like in the Golden Saucer that, hey, this place is money. And it's also a carnival.
Yeah.
And somehow a haunted house. And somehow a place where you bet on racing.
And there's places like that exist so near to Midgar.
Yeah.
And I guess another thing that, like, I don't know if you made it this far when you played it as a child before selling your PS1, but getting out of Midgar, I've said to you before that one of my favorite moments,
motorcycle fight?
That no, that's really dumb. I can't apologize for that.
Or all the mini games in this game that ruin the flow.
Yeah, that stuff's pretty bad. Again, it's
they were trying something new. I'll give them that.
Yeah, and most of it's optional, minus the motorcycle fight, to my memory.
Sure,
most of it.
We'll go with that.
But I've said to you before that one of my favorite moments in gaming that like people younger than us will never be able to appreciate is stepping out of the vault in Fallout 3. Yeah. Going from this super confined area to, oh shit, look at this big ass world these consoles are able to render.
And it's the same thing with getting out of Midgar.
Yes, getting out of Midgar was the same thing. I spent 10 hours thinking, oh, this is the world. And then, oh, we're out of Midgar. I guess the story's over. That's weird. That didn't feel like a ending. And oh shit, now we're on a world map. That was just a town in a world.
Yeah. They did a really good job of atmosphere building in Midgar.
So that's another thing that, again, I don't know if you made it that far as a kid, but it's something that, describing it to you, I'm sure you appreciate the innovation that is, but you'll never really feel what I felt when that happened unless you did make it that far.
Oh, no, I did. I did get that far.
Sure.
Maybe not on my first playthrough, but like a year or two later I did, which I was still young enough to have it last an impression on me. Don't get me wrong. Like, I see why this game like broke history You know, like I see why people really love it, and I like it, and I want to love it. But I think it's just because I started with the predecessor that came after the original game and knew most of the story and didn't have all the wonder and excitement for me yet. You know, like I said, I still intend on finishing it. I'm still on disc 1, but I'm just at the ending because I know it's right when you get to the Temple of the Ancients is when the disc 1 ends. Am I correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So I'm like right at the end of the first disc. But like I said, maybe by like disc 2 or maybe even disc 3, I'll start really liking it and change my opinion. It's just a lot of uncertainty that I hope will go away.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys can expect a spotlight on that when we both finish it because we're both currently playing it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You are playing it.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Well, Josh has played it before. We'll see if he'll play it again. Hey, Josh, play this 40-hour game for a spotlight for us.
Yeah. Your cousin said you need to play it too.
All right. In the meantime, let's see. Another game I've played this week. PC Building Simulator.
Jesus Christ.
Have you seen this, or are you just Jesus Christing at the name? And of course, Dalton would play this.
It's of course it's a game. Of course you would play it. Because let me take you out of the podcast region here, guys. Every time I come over to Dalton's house, hey man, this new PC thing's coming out. This new PC thing, VR, 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 VR. Oh, and did I mention PC building and VR? Like it's guys, it's every time. Don't feel confused. It's every time too for me sometimes. Every time, all the time.
In my defense, other than buying the Vive 2 years ago and replacing the case, I haven't bought a PC part in 3 years, and I don't intend to buy one for 2 more. I did buy that USB card.
And the Elgato for our Let's Play stuff.
Oh, well, that's different, but all right.
No, it's fucking not.
Anyway.
Continue with this game.
I'm rocking 3-year-old hardware. PC Building Simulator. So, of course, the first thing I did was build my own PC in the game. Why? I don't know. Why not?
You built the computer that you have?
Yes.
You know what? I think I need to leave. You are that obsessed with your own computer, although it is an awesome looking machine. We should probably post a picture of our computers on Instagram and see what happens. That'd be cool.
The game did not include my K2SO Pop Funko that's inside my case, so that was unfortunate.
I used to have Goku riding a flying Nimbus in my case.
Jeez. But yeah, so there's like a free build mode. Just do whatever you want. Build something. Here's all the parts available to you. But there's a career mode where you inherit a shop from your uncle that he didn't take care of, and it's in the crapper and 0-star reviews, and you have no money. And hey, start from here.
Is it in Stardew Valley?
They could be in the same universe. and it's interesting. So you have your little PC workshop and your personal computer set up in there, and you get on it and you check your email and you see orders that came in to like repair or upgrade people's computers. You pay close attention to what they need so that you can jump on a shop and order the parts they need. And then those parts and their computers come in the next day. You perform those repairs, send them back out, build up money to get better tools and more workbenches, and generally improve your efficiency. Just get more money in the bank. Make sure you can pay the electric bill. That kind of stuff. It's running a business, and it's down to the. Can
you run it into the ground?
You can lose. You can just run out of money. Well, so if you go under $0, you get like an email from the bank saying, "Hey, don't worry, we have overdraft protection down to like negative $1,000." And I've never hit that, so I don't know what happens there. So
you're not good at this game.
No, I'm doing good at the game. I haven't lost at the game. I haven't lost at the game. I've stayed over. I mean, I dipped under 0 enough to get that warning on like day 2 and okay. And then stayed above it.
Oh,
yeah. But it's even to the point of like I
Dalton's
said,
Life Simulator.
like customers will. The detail is to the point that like someone asked for an upgrade and you build the computer, and I mean you physically like click on like opening the processor lid, put the processor in place, click to close the processor lid, click to put the thermal paste on the processor, click to put the CPU cooler where it goes, click to put the fan cable to the CPU cooler into the motherboard. That kind of stuff.
Okay.
You can actually learn most of the process of building a PC doing this.
Through this game, yeah.
Yeah. But you go through all that, and then I decided, like, since this person said their computer was too slow, why don't I put my flash drive full of software into the computer, install my virus scanner, and run it? But I didn't uninstall it when I was done. And so this person's review on whatever they call the in-game review site was like 4 stars out of 5. And it was like, oh, this upgrade went great, but he left some weird software on my computer.
Yeah. Working at a certain computer company myself, if you did that, you could get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. There's details where like the customers don't really know what they want because they're not as knowledgeable as you, and you have to kind of translate. They might say something like, hey, I need to meet the minimum specs of this game. So you can't order the parts right away because you don't know what they need. So you wait for their computer to come in, and then you benchmark it, and then you install a benchmark on it, I should say, and then it goes, well, this PC has this part. We recommend this for this game. Okay, I guess I'll order it. And the customers will say like, oh, it's okay if I get it in 10 days, or they might say, I need this tomorrow. Only accept this job if you have the cash on hand to get this done tomorrow, or the parts on hand.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I mean, if that sounds at all interesting to you, I recommend it. I've been having fun. It's detailed, but it's not going to convert you if this isn't already something you care about. It's not like jumping into Roller Coaster Tycoon and having fun building a roller coaster, even though you don't know anything about roller coasters. You're not really going to have fun with this if you don't care about building PCs.
Let me ask you like specifics about this. When you said you built your computer, was it like down to the T?
Pretty close. They had my exact case in there.
Okay.
They had. There's a lot of licensing with actual PC part manufacturers to get really official, precise models in there, but it's not going to have every part ever made. So I found a motherboard that looked identical to mine down to the T, but it didn't have the actual model name on it. There's a CPU cooler in it that looked 100% identical to mine, but without the model name, the brand on it.
Yeah.
I use GeForce GTX 1070 from EVGA, and mine is the SC. They didn't have the SC, but they did have an EVGA 1070 of a different type that looked 90% identical.
Oh, okay.
They have exactly the fans I use, the Corsair magnetic levitation fans. You can get pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Identical RAM sticks to mine without the official branding. You can get close enough to satisfy yourself, but they did not have my Funko figurine, so zero stars.
Oh, that's funny.
What else you got, Alex? If anything.
I have one thing. I watched the newest segment of Dragon Ball Super that they put out.
Oh, you're still keeping up with this show.
Yeah.
Cool.
Angrily keeping up with it. I love it. I love the show,
Sure.
but Funimation is aggravating me.
Mm-hmm.
They gave the first airtime to Adult Swim.
Mm-hmm.
They can put it out on Blu-ray, but they can't put it on their own service.
Oh,
which is garbage.
I see.
So since I feel like it's been almost a year since they put anything new on Dragon Ball Super, and they did last night, and I binged it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 10 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that? 23 minutes an episode? Actually, no, 20 minutes an episode, because the first 3 minutes is theme song, last time on Dragon Ball Super.
Sure.
And starts now. So 20 minutes each. And I looked to see how far I am in the show. Mm-hmm. The last episode I watched was episode 104.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last episode was either episode 121 or 131. And you couldn't just release them all at one time, get the whole process over, and then put it on your service. But hey, you can watch it on Blu-ray, I'm sure.
I assume there's somehow legal issues here not that makes it okay, but I'm sure that wasn't a decision they were thrilled about.
And also, something I should mention, if you have the Funimation Now app on your Amazon Fire Stick.
Not sponsored?
No, it's not. The app is very broken.
Not sponsored until you fix it?
Thank you. I'll grab my check on the way out. No. But yeah, no, it's just there. It's not even just on the Fire Stick, I guess. Like the app is broken on like the PS4. Mm-hmm. The mobile app, I guess, isn't really all that super friendly. Like, I guess it's just like I checked Reddit and everyone's like, fix your app, dude. Yeah. Like, come on.
Yeah. This segment was brought to you by Crunchyroll.
And that's the thing. I actually debated on canceling my Funimation account to go to Crunchyroll, where I knew they had Dragon Ball Super and whatever.
And all the anime you love.
You can watch it on your Nintendo Wii U. No, I guess their deal with Funimation ran out, so they don't have Dragon Ball Super anymore. And the only reason that I still pay for Funimation is because it's like $6 a month and Crunchyroll's like 12. So, and the other thing too is like Crunchyroll focuses on subs, and I get flack for it, but I like certain dubs.
Yeah.
And they're just easier to. Why would I pay $11 for something I have to wait for a while to come out?
Yeah. Okay, so
since
you've talked about Funimation instead of Dragon Ball Super, I'm going to call this segment Alex Bitches about Funimation instead of Dragon Ball.
But Dragon Ball Super is good. Do you want me to talk about it? Because I can.
Sure, why not?
For those of you that don't know, Dragon Ball Super is the replacement of Dragon Ball GT. They basically said everyone had amnesia and GT really was Dragon Ball AF April Fools. And I like Super because it brought back Toriyama. Like, Toriyama's actually working on it instead of everyone else.
Right.
And it brought back the lightheartedness of Dragon Ball, but still kept the tension of Z. And it's I don't know. I really dig it. I like the animation. It's really smooth. It's difficult because I don't want to like spoil anything for. I don't know if you've ever watched it, Dalton.
The first two movies, never the series.
Okay, so you know about Frieza, but you don't know what happens to him during the Tournament of Power or what happens with anybody during a certain anything. The last part of the show is the Tournament of Power, I think. I don't know if they're adding more or if it's continuing after, because after they did the Broly movie, which I got to see in theaters, which was dope, seeing a Dragon Ball movie in the fucking big screen. No. Anyways, I don't know if they're going to continue anything after the Broly movie.
Yeah.
But as far as I knew, Super was done, and I'm almost through it. And I don't know. I like Dragon Ball's stuff. You know, like I like Dragon Ball. I liked Z. I never watched GT because now it's a big waste of time. And I really like Super, and I just want them to finish it. So it's a recommend for me. But make sure it's finally all out there, Funimation.
All right. Well, since you had a rant there, I have a rant.
Uh-oh.
I have a rant about a particular set of movie titles, and I think we've done this before, but there's a new example out there to piss me off about not titling movies correctly.
Not John Wick?
They've announced... Oh, that was the last one. That was the last one I bitched about this for, right?
Yeah, it was.
This time, and this isn't anything new to the series, but this time it's the Halloween series, because they've announced the next entry.
Oh, Jesus.
Alex, let me explain to you the history of Halloween movies and continuity here, to the best of my memory.
Go on.
Okay. There's Halloween 1, Halloween 2, direct sequel. Halloween 3, they thought they were going to do an anthology, so it has nothing to do with Mike Myers and the rest of the series. Forget it. 4, 5, 6, I want to say. It went up to 6. We're still direct sequels to 2. Still all one canon besides that 3 that doesn't count.
Okay.
7 and 8, ignored all but 1 and 2. So it's like a half reboot. That last handful of movies didn't happen. So there's now a timeline that's 1, 2, 7, 8.
Okay.
9 and 10 were the Rob Zombie reboot, and those movies were called Halloween and Halloween 2.
Correct.
The movie that came out last year, the 11th one they've made, is a direct sequel to number 1. Again, it said that number 1 counts, but we're ignoring everything after that. It is a direct sequel to Halloween, and its name is Halloween.
Oh my God.
There is a continuity that goes Halloween, Halloween 2, a continuity that goes Halloween, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Halloween 6, a continuity that goes Halloween, Halloween 7, Halloween 8, a continuity that goes Halloween 9, Halloween 10, and a continuity where, going back to the proper full names, because I was dropping subtitles there, goes Halloween, Halloween. They have announced the next movie in the franchise.
After the 11th?
Which get you, is the third in a continuity after Halloween and Halloween.
Oh my God.
And it is called Halloween 2.
Oh no.
So this is incorrect because it is the third movie, and because this is the third movie to be called Halloween 2. There is now a continuity that goes Halloween, Halloween, Halloween 2.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, I guess there is.
So I've boycotted the franchise based on this information. End of rant.
You're still gonna go see it. I know you are.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I have seen them all up to this point. That was because I randomly decided to binge watch them last year. I actually think the vast majority of them are trash, and the new movie last year really disappointed me. And no, I legitimately have no interest in continuing anymore. The only way,
seen a single one.
The only way I would watch them again and like continue and catch up is if our wonderful fans decided to make this a financially viable career where we could do this full time and post 4 movie reviews a week, and then I would catch up on Halloween.
Yeah, I don't want
to. Go ahead, share. You have a history.
No, oh God, why are you doing this to me? Why are you making me tell this story?
The story's going to require a selfie on Instagram.
Nope, I don't have any pictures of that time frame in my life.
Speaking of which, find the Broccoli Bomber Studios Instagram.
Yeah, where
we sometimes use it.
We're gonna have to post pictures of our rigs together on there. That'll be pretty sweet. But Dalton, I do not look like some shitty French horrorcore rapper. I don't anymore.
No, you're right. The resemblance is gone today.
Yeah, it was 7th grade. Where this is how like funny life works. Okay, I'm gonna go off this again. I remember you telling me a story when you were in 10th grade. I was in 7th, and we were in the same high school. You see me walking down the hallway with a Metallica Ride the Lightning T-shirt, and you said to your then girlfriend or then friend, "I think I'm not gonna like that kid." You thought you were gonna hate me over 10 years ago.
Yep.
Look at us now.
Hey, hate and not liking are two separate things.
Yeah, true. But I mean, you don't do either of those things to me, right, buddy?
To clarify, I never said I began to like you.
Fair enough.
Only
You're just like, hey, this kid can maybe make me money.
Only that I thought we might make a decent podcast.
13 years ago.
Those wishes have yet to work out.
You were like 13 years ago. That kid's gonna make me money on a fucking podcast, man. Let me tell you what. No.
Anyway, the point is that Alex looked just like young
the kid from the Rob Zombie.
Yeah, young Michael in the Rob Zombie reboot.
What was that kid's actual name? Because don't look him up on YouTube. He's a terrible rapper now.
You just gonna shit on this man's whole career?
Yeah.
For the record, I enjoyed that movie. I pretty much enjoyed like Halloween.
To be fair, we're both on even playing fields. We're both nobodies now.
Yeah. To clarify, I enjoy the original Halloween, Halloween 2, and the first of the Rob Zombie reboot movies with this kid in it. So don't mean to intend he was bad in this movie. He's actually really good in it, especially for a child actor. Oh boy, if you enjoy shitty rap music, though. And that's not to say all rap music is shitty. That's to say if you particularly enjoy the shitty kind.
Yeah, only the shitty kind. I just remember seeing a music video of him holding up the mask from Halloween and trying to gain credit from that.
Yeah, he like recreates scenes from it, but like as an adult.
Yeah. It's like those videos that you see of like low budget trailers. Have you seen any of those? Like I've seen the ones from like Terminator and The Matrix, and they're good. Yeah, that's this whole man's career now.
Just destroy this man's whole career.
Just do it.
Oh, man. Okay. We're going to go over our usual time just a little bit because I built up a backlog of shit to talk about here when we didn't do this for E3 week. Have you seen A Star Is Born?
Oh,
Bringing this up a year too late.
Oh, tell me about it because I know I've heard it.
Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I recognize it.
Yeah, okay, so this is...
I didn't see it.
Yeah, so this came out sometime last year, and I think it might have won some Oscars this year. I don't know. I stopped paying attention to the Oscars.
Wow.
I know it was a big deal there, though. Lady Gaga might have been nominated for Best Actress, or if I recall correctly. Whatever. I'm going to stop reciting shit I'm not sure about. Anyway, it's a music story, so of course I'm curious. It's a story where Bradley Cooper is already a famous, successful... I don't know if I want to say rock star or country star. He's kind of somewhere in between.
Okay.
And he just kind of discovers Lady Gaga's character just in a bar one night, just singing karaoke, and it's Lady Gaga. So of course the singing is wonderful, and he's blown away, and it's kind of a love story from there. And it's him giving
destroyed his poker face,
and it's him giving her a career and interesting things that would be spoiler territory that I don't want to do because, Alex, I do recommend this movie. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. So Bradley Cooper was like, man, this woman needs meat, or meat needs a dress like it needs blah, 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 blah. Meat in a dress. I fucking ruined that joke. Good job, man.
Good work. Not editing that for shit.
Don't do it. I'm just excited to get away from my house for a few days. Sorry, I'm antsy.
Audience, I don't know if you noticed that editor Dalton from the future here actually stopped editing this show. So I wouldn't mind some feedback on whether you prefer the more laid back, not cutting out the mistakes style we have going on now.
Yeah. That would be pretty helpful, actually.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And also, you should tell me how my editing skills are on our Let's Plays, because I try on those. I really try on those.
Broccoli Bomber Studios on YouTube.
Yeah.
Anyway, Alex, what are your feelings about Lady Gaga? You have none?
Yeah, I don't think I do.
Okay.
It's not that I've never heard her music. I've just never cared enough to seek it out.
Okay, that's fine. And I don't care for her music personally, but I have a lot more respect for her than I do most pop artists on the grounds that she writes her own music, may or may not be involved in the production. I'm not sure there, but I guess she just strikes me as more of an artist than most pop artists. And it's a genre I don't enjoy, but she's still better at it than most.
Okay.
And I've heard her do other things that were not pop music. Like I've seen videos of her just playing piano in clubs before she got famous. And
wow. Okay.
She did some interesting collaborations recently with people in other genres, and she's actually really skilled. She deserves all the credit she gets, even though she works in a genre I don't care for. And she's actually a brilliant actress too. This isn't the first thing she's acted in, but maybe it's her biggest thing. And she totally deserves whatever nominations she got. Although it helps that to some extent she's kind of playing herself. Not in regards to not that this character has her personality, but in regards to...
It's not a biography, or what is that?
It's kind of like 8 Mile, where there's similarities to Eminem's real life, but it's not an autobiography.
Right, yeah.
But there's definitely things there where the actor's like, I
she can certainly tap into it. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. I like when movies are able to do that with the actors. I've always enjoyed that. Not wanting to derail this much more, but everyone knows what I'm talking about when there's this particular scene in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when he meets his dad, and that scene makes me feel all of it, because that's very similar to how he was when he was younger. You know, he didn't really know his dad.
It's a big enough moment that Alex just said, yeah, there's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and it has a scene. It makes me sad. And you all just went, yeah, I know the one. Why'd you have to bring it up?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. It's still too soon, right? No. But yeah,
that said, she's excellent in it. Bradley Cooper, man, Bradley Cooper's actually a rock star.
Really?
He helped write the music here.
No shit.
He does the singing. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know if you saw. There's actually at the Oscars. I didn't watch them, but I did see on YouTube after the fact him and Lady Gaga performing kind of the standout song of the movie live.
Oh, that's
at
really
the Oscars.
Cool. Yeah.
And it was beautiful. And I watched that and went, oh shit, I need to see this movie because that performance was awesome. Bradley Cooper's a legit musician, and his character is a guitarist here, and from what I could tell, always trying to observe whether the actors are really playing.
You picked that up as a musician.
He really does play, but I think the camera strategically only shows you the parts he can do.
Oh,
so he'll play and not really play in the same shot. They'll show you the chunk of the solo he can perform, and then he'll get real into it and thrash the guitar around, and it'll kind of drop below the camera's field of view, and now you can't see his hands, because at that point it's not him anymore. Still, he put more than enough effort into being legit here, and he has a really good voice, and all the music here is in styles that I don't really care for. I don't really care for the style of rock he gets at. I don't really care for country music. There's a bit of a story element, very minor spoilers, of Lady Gaga's character starting to do some really dumb, shitty pop music that's intentionally bad. So other than the one standout song they performed at the Oscars, I can't say I loved the music, but I enjoyed the story regardless. And yeah, these performances were phenomenal. Only minor performance nitpick is that Bradley Cooper's character, I don't know if this is an attack on the performance or not, but his character talks in a certain way that I don't know if I would have understood him well without captions, because his character, this isn't spoilers, this is obvious up front, is an alcoholic, and that's a plot element. And he speaks heavily slurred and very low and rumbly, just all the time, and it just comes out like this, and I don't know how you understand that without captions. And
yeah, fair.
But like, he sells it. I believe him when he's doing it. So maybe that's more of a direction complaint than an acting complaint. But
maybe that is. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to watch it to really understand. Like, it's one of those things where we talked about it with like Captain Marvel, wasn't it? Like, do you blame the actor or the director?
Right. And maybe that was his call. I don't know if, maybe I should have looked this up beforehand. I don't know if he's credited as like if he helped direct or produce or write a script or anything. I don't really know what all he did besides him and Lady Gaga writing the music. So maybe he was in charge of that decision. But yeah, in any case, he didn't perform it badly. He sold me on that shitty drunken drawl. I believed him. I just but without captions on, and I did have captions on, I don't know if I would have followed it, and I wish they would have chose to be a little bit more clear.
Yeah,
whatever.
Fair,
that's a nitpick. My nitpicks are that, and that I didn't really love the music in the same way that like we watched La La Land, and I genuinely love the music in La La Land, and this movie didn't do that for me, and I'm not going to be listening to the soundtrack for it.
La La Land was really good too.
I still bought the story, enjoyed it. The actors were great. Definitely recommend it.
I do have to say though, man, just breaking out again of the typical podcast agenda, we have severely grown as musicians. Like, I remember, what was it, a few years ago, we were like, yeah, Suicide Silence is the shit. They only matter.
Oh, don't tell people that was a few years ago. That was a decade ago.
Well, you know, it was, but like
it might not feel like it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I don't know. Time flies when you're having fun with your best friend. No.
10 years ago, you definitely would not have heard me say, oh, I love the music in La La Land. Not just because the movie didn't exist, but...
yeah. And 10 years ago, you wouldn't have heard me say, man, Billie Eilish has got some good songs.
Yeah.
Like, because you knew me, like I was strictly like, if it doesn't have distorted guitars and
you also
breakdowns.
You also wouldn't have heard me say that Lady Gaga deserves all the praise she gets. Alex, you have an old embarrassing YouTube video that I don't know if you remember. It's there. That's just you whining to a camera about Justin Bieber.
I'm getting rid of that.
And it's the cringiest shit.
I'm getting rid of it.
And now that I said it, yeah, I would delete that before I post this in 2 days.
Oh, you bet. It's oh no, dude, it's going right now. I'm actually on my YouTube channel. Okay, let's go.
It's all right. Channel. It's all right, folks. I knew that was going to happen, and I already have a backup. It's cool.
If you do, I'm going over to your house with the strongest magnet I can find.
Support our Patreon to see that video.
No,
that's a joke. We don't have a Patreon yet, but maybe one day.
I don't think I have that video anymore, dude.
I watched it a couple of years ago. Did you switch channels at some point?
No, it's gone.
Oh, interesting. You must have saw it and got embarrassed at some point already. All right. I think that's the end of our show. Huh. Watch out for our next spotlight on our Tarantino marathon and see the forgotten movie Jackie Brown. Thanks for listening.
Man, I had some really long hair in those videos.
Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.